Thank you, Miguel. Let me talk a little bit about value-based pricing. Value-based pricing is about understanding the goals and objectives of customers in a marketplace. What are their needs? How do they derive benefit from a company's products and services? The reason I'm down here, and I'm president of SPMG, better known as Strategic Pricing Management Group. We just completed a workshop with several participants here in Mexico. It was well attended, with a lot of companies coming from various degrees of functions and industries. Some came from business to consumer industries, some came from business to business. The goal and objective of what we're trying to accomplish here in Mexico is to educate individuals around the concepts of value-based pricing. Value-based pricing is an outside-in approach. Traditional pricing has always been a cost-plus approach. Many companies use two approaches in order to ascertain what is the right price in the marketplace. They do one of two things. They either look at their costs and develop a price based on a relative markup that they believe they can get in the marketplace. Usually that cost represents your cost of goods sold, which is subtracted from your list price in order to arrive at a gross margin number. And that is the basis by which we determine, typically in the marketplace, what is the right price. The New World has taken an approach whereby we take an outside-in approach. Cost-plus pricing is an inside-out approach. An outside-in approach is typically used when we speak to customers rather than just looking at product costs in order to arrive at a price. The customer in that case is the ultimate arbiter. The individual who decides what are the right prices, what is the right value proposition in the marketplace, and what is their willingness to trade their value, or your value rather, for their price or their money. The reason that value-based pricing has become so successful around the world is it actually develops an approach whereby the customer decides how they'll trade all their price or money for the value that a company is willing to provide in the marketplace, whether it be a bunch of different products or a bunch of different services. I'm here to train people, and have been here to train people, around the concepts of value-based pricing. In Mexico, we have a tremendous opportunity to develop value-based pricing across different organizations, across different functions, and across the country. Pricing touches everybody, whether you're in finance, whether you're in marketing, whether you're in operations, whether you're in sales. Everyone has something to say about pricing, and it affects everyone in the organization. The wonderful thing about pricing and value-based pricing is that there are all kinds of new tools, both qualitative as well as quantitative, that can be used in the marketplace to determine what is the right price to charge in the marketplace. So what is the benefit of value-based pricing here in Mexico? The benefit is that we can introduce a new concept that currently does not exist across the country. There are a handful of companies that currently do value-based pricing here in Mexico, some of which I've worked with over the past, and they are doing it primarily because they have adopted or learned some of these concepts abroad, or they are part of a multinational company that currently adopts and applies some value-based pricing concepts, whether it be in America or Canada or Europe or some other country where they have already been applying value-based pricing for many years. Here in Mexico, a competitive advantage is to actually adopt value-based pricing concepts in order to understand customer purchasing behavior. The other value approach to value-based pricing is it helps a company articulate what its Mazda is. And you may ask, what is Mazda? Mazda is an acronym we use for Meaningful and Sustainable Differential Advantage. Many companies in Mexico are very good at creating and capturing value. They're not very good at communicating that value proposition, primarily because there's a lot of opportunity to understand by qualifying and quantifying value. By clearly understanding how you're different to your competitors, do you have a sustainable strategy, and how much of that can be incorporated into a new price by incorporating a new value proposition, by actually explaining, by understanding what the customer desires, by using that information to develop a bunch of attributes that are important to the customer, and by quantifying that into a price. The goal and objective of Strategic Pricing Management Group, both from Miguel Legarreta, who is in charge of the Mexican market and is a director here, as well as myself and all the other colleagues that make up the Strategic Pricing Management team, is to both educate the market here around value-based pricing concepts, conduct some market research on behalf of various companies, if needed, to develop value-based pricing processes within an organization to make them more efficient, and disseminate information to all the players that touch pricing, and to conduct some training and develop some tools that are most helpful for organizations here in Mexico. The market is wide open. There are very few companies adopting value-based pricing strategies, and I would encourage all of you to attend workshops in the future, to give us a call. We'd be happy to talk to you and help articulate strategies around value-based pricing, and where you may or may not be able to develop some opportunities in order to develop a marketplace that will help you grow your revenue and improve your profitability. Thank you very much.
Michael, it's very interesting. Who do you think are the persons who should attend a SPMG pricing workshop?
Very good question, Miguel. Thank you very much. As I mentioned before, pricing touches everybody. At the mid-level manager level, it's very helpful to attend value-based pricing workshops. Why? Because there are all kinds of tools, both academic as well as scientific, that can be communicated to individuals here in the marketplace who have really limited experience and knowledge that will help them develop a marketing discipline that incorporates pricing more so than just adjusting price up or down. So I would recommend individuals who attend would come from marketing, the marketing departments, the finance departments, individuals from operations, those individuals from sales. In the past, we've conducted workshops around the world, and we have a very good cross-section of individuals who typically attend our value-based pricing workshops. They're at all levels within the organization, and they're across all different functions. As I mentioned, marketing, finance, operations, sales, and any other individuals who have a strategic position within their organization. You will walk away with considerable value. It's very good value for the money, and you will not be disappointed.
Thank you, Michael. What is the risk of a company if they don't put enough attention to the pricing function?
Most companies do a good job making a dollar, as in they are profitable, they have good products in the marketplace. Some of you have great brands and have been around for a significant period of time and are well known to the Mexican marketplace. What value-based pricing can do is offer you an approach by which you can optimize your revenue and your profitability. Most organizations that do make some money typically leave money on the table. They do not optimize their revenue. They do not take what we call in our industry a customer-centric approach. Rather, they take a product-centric approach. By attending workshops like ours, you will learn to move your company from looking at merely products and gross margin and how well do those products perform, to a customer-centric outside-in approach, understanding what customers are buying, what are they not buying. How do you look at that customer in terms of determining whether that's a profitable customer and whether you should raise your price for various products being purchased by that customer, or whether you should even lower some of your prices. The idea ultimately is to provide an environment whereby a company has a good level of understanding of what a customer is purchasing and what is their elasticity of demand. How sensitive are they to price? Can we avoid price transparency? How do you do that? Should you concentrate more on what we call value attributes, those elements of a product or service proposition that are deemed important to customers, even more so than price? Most of us here in Mexico continue to focus on price as a lever to drive profits as well as volume. Just looking at price is not a good strategy. It's an easy strategy and an easy lever to focus on, but not a good strategy. Price is one of many attributes that are important to customers. You need to understand, you need to qualify those attributes, you need to quantify the attributes in a price elasticity or price value mapping tool in order to understand what's important to the customer. Once you understand what's important to the customer, you can then develop pricing strategies and understand how the customer perceives your value proposition relative to your competitors. Coming to our workshop will help you articulate that value proposition and how do you develop those value propositions in the marketplace. How do you design the research, how do you build the tools, and how do you communicate that value proposition into the market?
Thank you very much, Michael. I hope